Good morning, America. For our viewers in the West, Florida bracing for a major hurricane. Hurricane watch. Helene ramping up. The Florida Gulf Coast preparing for possible 115-mile-per-hour winds. Ginger has a track and timing. Where and when the storm could make landfall.
Escalation in the Middle East. Israel pounds Lebanon with airstrikes, killing nearly 500 people, injuring more than 1,600. Targeting Hezbollah across the country, causing a mass exodus. Hezbollah fires rockets back across northern Israel as the U.S. sends some additional troops to the region. Top national security official John Kirby joins us live.
New details in the apparent assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Federal prosecutors saying the suspect was lying in wait for the former president and sharing a note they say he left with an associate.
Urgent manhunt. Police in Alabama now offering a reward as they search for the suspects who opened fire outside a Birmingham nightclub.
An ABC News exclusive. Ukraine President Zelenskyy and First Lady Zelenskyi in their first joint interview since the war began on Zelenskyy's victory plan and the upcoming U.S. presidential election. How do you think that will impact the war, depending on who is victorious? Only on GMA.
In the hot seat, the CEO of the company that makes Ozempic and Wegovy set to be grilled on Capitol Hill on why those popular drugs cost so much. Overnight, dancing on the football field. The Commanders' star rookie quarterback in control.
Daniels is going to walk it in for the touchdown.
Plus, intercepted. Damar Hamlin, the Bills, and Josh Allen putting on a show.
A touchdown for the rookie. Zooms into the end zone for another Buffalo touchdown.
As we help the fans score before the big game.
Show me the money!
And you know we're dancing into Tuesday with the help of this Oscar winner, Kate Winslet, live in Times Square.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
We are all smiles this morning, Good Morning America, because we just saw some baby pictures from Michael. Congratulations, Granddad.
Yes. You almost scared. You said baby picture. I'm like, I had a baby. But no, it is amazing. My daughter Tanita had a little baby boy Onyx on Sunday morning, 2:30 a.m.
Wow.
And I'm so excited. I'm so happy. And yeah, great addition to the family.
He does look a little like you.
Yeah, he does. It's gorgeous.
That's a good-looking baby.
and now you can't give Janae a hard time for showing baby pictures. That's what you were doing.
When she comes down today, I'm going to show her all mine.
Congratulations,
Thank
Michael.
you.
We're going to begin with Florida, bracing for what could become a major hurricane. Dozens of counties already declared a state of emergency. Ginger, tracking the storm for us. Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. So while Florida will take the brunt of the initial storm, I want Georgia, southern Appalachia to pay attention too, because we've got a lot of impacts that will be widespread. We'll start with where it is. It's now in the Caribbean, just west of the Cayman Islands. It's a low pressure system, but it should soon become Hurricane Helene. And then it will make its way through the Gulf. By Thursday evening, it looks like the Big Bend of Florida takes the landfall. Somewhere in there, that cone, remember, it can go anywhere from basically Tallahassee to Tampa still at this point with confidence in time. That's why we have hurricane watches, really from Tallahassee through Cedar Key, down to Crystal River, Tampa, Sarasota even. But those tropical storm watches, because water piles ahead of this, go all the way down to Key West, Naples, Fort Myers included. Because the surge piles up, I've been there for many storms that are not even as strong, and you can get major flooding, especially on those kind of barrier islands. So keep an eye on 2 to 5 feet there on the southern end. 4 to 8 feet included there for Tampa Bay, so all of those Clearwater, all those beaches, and then 10 to 15 feet where the bulk of that eye wall will go in. That's Thursday night when the worst of it will be coming through. Flash flooding, tornadoes, and of course, big wind. But look at how far the significant flash flood threat goes. It's not just going to be the rain, 3 to 6 inches widespread, up to 8, 10 into southern Appalachia that could cause major problems, but wind. The wind takes down trees all the way to Atlanta with this one, so we could see some major damage.
All right, Ginger, thank you for that. That's definitely significant. Thank you. We're going to turn now to the escalation in the Middle East, where the fighting has intensified between Israel and Hezbollah. Top White House official John Kirby will join us in just a moment, but first, our chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell is on the scene in Beirut. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Michael. I think we've just witnessed one of the deadliest days in Lebanon with massive widespread attacks by Israel against Hezbollah targets, effectively putting the two warring sides on the edge of the biggest war here in almost 20 years. This morning, escalating fears of a wider regional war in the Middle East, with Israel relentlessly pounding Lebanon, killing nearly 500 in just one day, including women and children, and wounding more than 1,600. It's been the deadliest day for Lebanon in decades. One explosion in southern Lebanon captured on dashcam. Israel attacking 1,600 sites across the country it says are being used by Hezbollah. The attacks unleashing a mass exodus, people fleeing their homes and villages, creating gridlock in southern Lebanon. Terrified families fleeing amid the bombardment. Israel preparing for what it calls the next phases of the war. And Prime Minister Netanyahu saying Israel's war is with Hezbollah and not Lebanon, urging people to leave their homes.
The IDF has warned you to get out of harm's way. I urge you, take this warning seriously. Don't let Hezbollah endanger your lives and the lives of your loved ones.
The Iranian-backed militants firing rockets into northern Israel, declaring an open-ended battle. Hundreds of thousands of residents in Israel hiding in shelters. And this morning, Hezbollah again striking into Israel. The risk of this conflict spiralling out of control is now very real. Well, guys, I think for now, at least, things appear a little quiet on this side of the border today, although the bombardment is carrying on. But I think in some senses, the ball is now in Hezbollah's court. I mean, it's barely tapped into its massive arsenal. And if it does, then the chances of being able to contain a wider war may be impossible. George?
Okay, and thanks very much. The U.S. is deploying additional troops to the region. Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Redditz is in Israel with the details. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, George. The additional forces that the U.S. is sending here to the region are a special operations team, a small team, to help provide planning for a possible evacuation of American citizens if this war spirals out of control. And there are deep concerns that could happen. There are already 40,000 U.S. troops in the region, including a carrier strike group at sea. But there are tens of thousands of Americans now living in Lebanon and, of course, here in Israel as well. The State Department would make the determination whether to order an evacuation. But even before this intense round of Israeli bombing, the State Department warned Americans living in Lebanon to get out of the country while commercial travel was still available. That could become much more complicated, George, if the airports were hit. George?
Okay, Martha, thanks very much. Let's bring this to John Kirby, White House spokesman for the National Security Council. John, thank you for joining us this morning. We just heard Martha talk about the airports. We know in the past Israel has bombed the airports in Lebanon back in 2005. Do you expect it to happen again? Have you been given a heads up?
We're in constant touch with our Israeli counterparts, George, as you might imagine. We want to make sure that there are still commercial options available for Americans to leave, and they should be leaving now while those options are available, but I won't get ahead of operations.
You won't get ahead of operations. The United States has been trying very hard to prevent an escalation.
Absolutely.
The president has been in constant contact with Israel, but they don't seem to be heeding his advice.
Again, I think we don't believe it's in Israel's interest for this to escalate, for there to be an all-out war there on the north, on that blue line between Israel and Lebanon. If the goal, George, is to get families back to their homes, we think there's a better way to do that than an all-out conflict. The Israelis will tell you yesterday that they had to take some of these strikes because they were about to be imminently attacked by Hezbollah. They do have a right to defend themselves. But what we're going to keep doing is talking to them about trying to find a diplomatic solution here, a way to de-escalate the tensions so that the families can go back in a sustainable way.
We just heard from Ian that the ball is now in Hezbollah's court. Israel bracing for a response this morning. Do we have any sense of what's going to come next?
I won't get into the intelligence assessment. Certainly, we have seen the rhetoric coming out of Nasrallah and his leadership about how they want to respond to this. That's obviously going to be something we'll monitor very, very closely. I will just tell you that while we won't get involved in the conflict itself there around that blue line, because we don't want to see a conflict at all, we'll do what we have to continue to do to make sure Israel can defend itself.
Let's turn to the war in Ukraine. Robin spoke with President Zelenskyy and the First Lady of Ukraine yesterday. We're going to have more of that interview coming up later today. He seems to believe that peace is closer than we think if the United States and the Western allies continue to provide Ukraine with the assistance it needs?
He will continue to get that assistance. You know, he's going to meet with the president Thursday back in Washington after the UN General Assembly concludes. And I fully expect that you'll hear the president talk about continued and additional support to Ukraine as we head into the fall and winter months, particularly as Mr. Putin tries to weaponize the winter weather, going after their energy grid and infrastructure. So President Zelenskyy can rest assured that he'll continue to have the United States support and the other 50-some-odd nations that are providing.
Are we seeing the outlines of a possible peace?
Well, look, President Zelenskyy said he's going to come with a victory plan. We haven't seen that plan. We look forward to talking to him about what this looks like, what the components are, and we'll see where it goes from there. What we've said all along, George, is whenever and however this war ends, it's got to end in a way that is in keeping with President Zelenskyy's view of what a just peace needs to look like. And it has to factor in the Ukrainian people's desires and aspirations. So whatever that is, again, we'll look forward to talking to him about that, but we'll be supportive as we move forward.
Finally, the president speaking to the United Nations today. What's his message?
Message is that, number one, we've accomplished a lot on the world stage in the United States over the last 3.5 years, revitalized our alliances and partnerships, really advanced our national security interests around the world, working on transnational problems like climate change and clean energy transition, on fentanyl prevention. There's been an awful lot of work that the United States has done, and he's going to make the case for why it's important for America to continue to lead and why we have to all work together, the whole United Nations, to try to really make these changes sustainable and enduring for the long term.
John Kirby, thanks as always.
Thank you.
Michael?
All right, thank you, George. Now to the race for the White House. Donald Trump holding a rally in the battleground state of Pennsylvania as he kicks off a swing state tour as Vice President Harris prepares for a speech on the economy. Rachel Scott is tracking the campaigns in Pittsburgh. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, Michael, good morning to you. We are officially 6 weeks out from the November election today, and polls show that this race is tighter than ever, with both sides really trying to make up for any lost ground. So former President Donald Trump continuing his blitz across the battleground states. Vice President Kamala Harris plans to visit our southern border on Friday during a planned visit to Arizona. It comes as polls show that Donald Trump is ahead in that state by 5 points. This would mark Harris's very first time visiting the southern border since President Biden dropped out of the race. Trump, of course, has put immigration at the center of his campaign. He repeatedly goes after Harris for her role in the administration addressing the root causes of migration. Harris has called Donald Trump's immigration policies extreme, including that plan for mass deportations. Just last night at his rally, the former president brought up Springfield, Ohio, after making false claims that Haitian migrants in that city were eating neighborhood pets. The crowd then chanting, "Send them back." The former president also undermining his own campaign's effort for early voting, calling it stupid. He continued to push false claims about election integrity. He called Democrats a threat to democracy. He vowed to go after anyone who participates in illegal voting, which is extremely rare. He had 3 stops in Pennsylvania yesterday. Harris comes here tomorrow for that speech on the economy, and it comes as a new Harvard poll shows that younger voters overwhelmingly support her, Michael.
Yeah, Rachel, I know about that poll. And what's the latest on that push to turn Nebraska into a winner-take-all state?
Yeah, Republicans, including Donald Trump, were supporting a push to change Nebraska's 5 electoral votes to a winner-take-all system. Now, this is a move that would benefit the former president and his campaign in a very close election, but it hit a major roadblock when one state Republican lawmaker refused to go along with this plan. But this is just another example about how Republicans are trying to change the rules as early voting is already underway. Georgia deciding they're going to be counting the votes by hand. George.
Okay, Rachel, thanks very much. We're going to get the latest now on the assassination attempt against Donald Trump in Florida. The suspect was in court where prosecutors shared new evidence, including a note saying he planned to kill the former president. ABC Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas has the story. Good morning, Pierre.
George, good morning. Ryan Ruth is being held without bond after federal prosecutors argued that he's a risk to flee and dangerous. In a 3-hour hearing, they offered chilling new details that they believe makes the case that Ruth was a man on a mission to assassinate former President Trump. One prosecutor saying Ruth hid along that Florida golf course for one reason and one reason only, and that was to kill the former president of the United States. DOJ portraying an extremely close call, telling the court that if the Secret Service agent had not seen Ruth hiding along that fence, Trump would have come within 32 yards of the suspect, which would have been a, quote, easy shot. The government also releasing a closer look at the SKS Soviet-style assault rifle they say they recovered. An FBI agent saying they discovered that several months before the alleged attempt, Ruth left a box with an associate who opened it last week after Ruth was arrested. They claimed the box contained ammunition and a short letter mentioning a, quote, assassination attempt on Donald Trump. The government making clear that attempted assassination charges are coming, charges that carry a maximum penalty of life in prison, Robin.
Highly disturbing details you just shared with us, Pierre. Thank you. We're going to turn now to the latest on the Boeing strike, the union rejecting the latest offer. Trevor Ault is tracking this for us. Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning, Robin. This is a really big deal. We believe this has already cost Boeing about $500 million, and it's still ongoing. They might be at an impasse. The union for the machinists on strike has rejected Boeing's offer. It includes a 30% raise over 4 years. Boeing calls this its best and final offer, but the union had asked for 40%, and they say this supposed final offer misses the mark. So this strike has halted production on many Boeing jets. It's now on day 11. It's estimated to cost $50 million per day, and who knows when it might end.
Who knows?
Yes.
Who knows? But we do know that there's some news when it comes to the
Air traffic
controllers shortage.
Absolutely,
right.
yeah. It was something we've been reporting on for some time. The FAA had said way back in the spring they were short about 3,000 air traffic controllers, which is a huge number, but they say they've made major progress here and exceeded their hiring goals. They've hired more than 1,800 in 2024 so far. In April, of course, Congress passed a plan to help increase controller pay. That's a big reason behind being able to hire so many more people. But the shortage had been linked to delays and a number of close calls on airport runways. There's still a shortage, but it is much smaller than what it used to be.
Okay, it's encouraging.
Yes.
All right, Trevor, thanks so much. Now to Capitol Hill, where the CEO of the company that makes Ozempic and Wegovy is set to testify at a hearing this morning on the high cost of those drugs. Elizabeth Schulze is on Capitol Hill with the latest. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Good morning, Robin. An influential Senate committee wants to know why those popular weight loss and obesity drugs cost so much more in the U.S. than they do in other countries. Ozempic, which is made by the drug maker Novo Nordisk, the price for that is $969 per month in the U.S. In Canada, you can get it for $155 per month, and in Germany, it's only $59. For Americans with obesity, the price for Wegovy is even higher, more than $1,300 monthly. After insurance and rebates, the price that people pay at the pharmacy counter is typically much less. But the committee chairman, Senator Bernie Sanders, is accusing the drug maker of ripping off Americans while reaping nearly $50 billion in sales alone from Wegovy and Ozempic. In his testimony, the CEO of Novo Nordisk is expected to point to the high cost of developing and manufacturing these drugs. Lawmakers still want their prices to be even lower. And this hearing comes as the CDC is out with new data this morning showing that obesity rates have ticked slightly down, but are still up in the U.S. over the past 10 years. In total, more than 100 million Americans have obesity, and the rates with severe obesity have been steadily increasing over time. Guys.
Yes. All right, Elizabeth. Our thanks to you as always. Coming up, our exclusive with Ukraine's president and the First Lady, their plea for support and what he's saying about his victory plan that George has talked to John Kirby about, and the plan to fight against Russia.
Also, we have the latest on the mass shooting in Alabama as officials hunt for multiple shooters.
And the superhero moment for this 8-year-old boy. Coming up, a big night for Damar Hamlin and Josh Allen and those Buffalo Bills. Plus, show me the money with the fans who scored big bucks before kickoff. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
Lawrence on the move, launching down the middle, intercepted. Over for the man and Damar Hamlin.
Welcome back to GMA. That was a special moment for Damar Hamlin. His first interception of his career right there on Monday Night Football. We're going to have much more on that doubleheader from overnight, and that is just ahead.
Hollywood would never believe it.
Yeah, what a story, though. What an amazing young man, what a story.
Yes.
And what an interview we have coming up right now. You had an exclusive joint interview with President Zelenskyy of Ukraine and the First Lady.
They are here in the city because of the UN. The President, Zelenskyy, addressing the UN Security Council today, set to visit the White House on Thursday to sit down with President Biden. Now, this was the first time sitting down with the First Lady since my visit to Ukraine 2 years ago in the early months of the war. The couple spoke from the heart about their country's ordeal in the war against Russia. At times, they spoke in English, at times in their native language using Ukrainian translators. How are you?
Thank you so much.
President Zelenskyy. This morning, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, alongside First Lady Olena Zelenska, making their urgent plea for Ukraine's solidarity.
The war is not over, so stay with us, support us. It's vital. Without this support, we will not survive.
To drum up support, President Zelenskyy attending the UN General Assembly in New York City before meeting President Biden to present what he calls his victory plan to win the fight against Russia. Part of that plan reportedly includes joining NATO.
So your victory plan, does it include, and I know you don't want to get into details until you talk to leaders, but negotiating with Russia, and how can you trust someone?
It's not about negotiating with Russia. No, it's about, like I said, it's a bridge to diplomatic way how to stop the war. The bridge is a plan of victory or victorious plan. It's a strengthening of Ukrainian army and Ukrainian people. Only in the strong position we can push Putin to stop the war, diplomatic way. And only with a strong position we can speak. We can speak with any enemies, of course. That's why we're asking our friends, our allies, to strengthen us. It's very important.
The U.S. presidential election is coming up shortly. How do you think that will impact the war, depending on who is victorious?
Не хотілося б, щоб це вплинуло на.
I would not want this to influence the support of Ukraine. Of course, I would want that no matter who is elected, that Ukraine does not suffer. And that's why understanding that the policy towards Ukraine can change, and therefore we need to prepare in advance. And that is why the victory plan, I wanted to discuss it with candidates until one of them becomes the president.
Zelenskyy also meeting with world leaders amid devastating attacks to Ukraine's infrastructure. More than half of Ukraine's power grid now destroyed.
The recent information is that Russia has been using Chinese satellite and taking photos of the details of the objects on nuclear facilities. And on our experience, if Russia takes photos of certain objects, then there is a threat of strikes against the nuclear objects. So that is a nuclear terror. And such things we share with many leaders who can influence Russia and influence Putin.
Zelenskyy once again asking Biden for permission to use U.S.-backed long-range missiles, saying the weapons could hit air bases that Russia is using to drop hundreds of bombs in eastern Ukraine.
What will happen if you're denied permission?
Putin will continue to destroy us, to kill people, to kill children. Absolutely. He will act in this way. We will lose thousands of schools and tens of thousands of lives. That is what will be happening.
An issue close to First Lady Zelenskyy's heart are the children of Ukraine, an estimated 19,500 now being held in Russia.
They're being told that nobody's looking for them in Ukraine. Nobody needs them in Ukraine. We can't wait. It's dangerous to keep waiting. Unfortunately, bringing them back has been very slow. 388 children have been brought back from Russia. If we are going to bring our children back at this rate, we will need more than 30 years to bring them back.
Parents to two children of their own, life for Ukrainians today, a stark contrast to before the start of the war, nearly 950 days ago.
I remember, Mrs. Zelenskyy, when you were talking about your son when I saw you, and he was like, when is this going to be over? What kind of questions are they asking you now?
Same questions, unfortunately. And I remember how we had these very symbolic anniversaries, first 30 days, first 100 days, and then we stopped counting. And it's, I guess, a good thing, because we're trying to look ahead.
As they look towards their future, the couple leaning on each other as they work to protect an entire nation.
When we talked, I loved how you expressed your feelings for your husband. You know, you early days of the war, you didn't see him. Your emotions about your husband and how he has been at the forefront of this in your country.
I am sure of him. I'm glad to be by his side. It's very important for me, and I'm happy that I can be by his side, and I hope very much that I can support him in some way and help him. And I hope he needs that.
So indeed, and I need this.
So that's the positive things that I found for myself.
Is there anything that you want to say to the American people to help them understand where you are?
We are very thankful to people of America, really, from the very beginning. You know, United States being the first country who supported us totally, but we can't. I'm so sorry. I know that you have your challenges and etc. But I have to underline it and to repeat. We can't now be weak. We can't relax because we didn't stop Putin. Didn't stop him in his crazy ideas. That's why we have to be strong. And I'm asking to understand us, to be around us, to support us as you did at the very beginning of the war. And I think that we are closer to the peace than we think. We are closer to the end of the war. We just have to be very strong, very strong.
Now, Putin's spokesman was asked about Zelenskyy telling me what you just heard, that he thinks peace and the end of the war are, quote, closer than we think if Western countries help strengthen Ukraine. And the spokesman from Russia doubling down, saying Russia will only end the war when its goals are achieved. But again, President Zelenskyy speaking at the UN today. He'll speak with President Biden on Thursday, and he says he has a victory plan, victory plan.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see their exchange on Thursday, because we saw from John Kirby earlier today, the president expecting to hear more, also promising to give Ukraine what it needs.
And that's what he wanted to hear. But again, he would not reveal to us. He wanted to wait, as he should, to talk to the leaders. But I cannot forget, May 2022, I was there in Ukraine speaking with the First Lady. And I asked her then, what is your message for the American people? And she said, do not get used to our pain. Yeah. Do not get used to your
big
pain.
Danger.
And here we are more than 2 years later. And you can see more of the interview with President Zelenskyy and the First Lady. It'll air Wednesday on ABC News Live, then on Hulu later.
Monday Night Football, so I am calling an audible. We're going to start with Winnie the Pooh.
Oh my gosh! That's so funny. So George wants me to show you the cutest picture of my baby. George doesn't know that we don't show our kids on social media or anything. George, I'm sorry, so I can't show.
So
but say how cute.
Play. Let's talk about the doubleheader last night.
Say how cute he was. It was adorable, right?
That was precious.
The cutest little baby. Oh, but George, thank you for coming alive for that. I just adore you. Okay, Monday Night Football. This was the first of 4 Monday Night Football doubleheaders this season. First up, it featured another chapter in the inspiring story of Damar Hamlin. The Bills hosted the Jaguars, and this one was all Buffalo, scoring early and often. Josh Allen, nearly flawless. He's the first quarterback in 17 years to throw 4 first-half touchdowns on Monday Night Football. Buffalo would go on to win 47-10, stampeding over the Jags, and 3-0 this season. Just the opposite for Jacksonville, which has yet to win a game. But I mean, Damar Hamlin, he stole the show and the ball. When it was intercepted, Trevor Lawrence passed late in the first half. It was the first interception of his career. Hamlin, of course, suffered cardiac arrest on the field during Monday Night Football 2 seasons ago. His team and the hometown fans on their feet, holding up 3 fingers in salute. He is just
that was incredible.
A star. Yes.
Good to watch.
Yeah. Other primetime battle a little closer.
Yes, it was, George. We're still talking football here. Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Washington Commanders, Joe Burrow. And the Bengals, when I was there at the stadium yesterday morning, I told you they had an axe to grind. This is the 3rd season in a row that they had an 0-2 start. They were the first to strike. Burrow throwing his 100th touchdown pass to Jamar Chase. And there's, of course, the friendly rivalry between the QBs. They both went to LSU, both won the Heisman Trophy, but it was rookie QB Jaden Daniels and the Commanders that won last night. Yeah, Daniels with a record-breaking night, including first touchdown pass of his NFL career, followed by this impossible throw into the corner of the end zone. Daniels' completion percentage, the highest of any quarterback. Yeah, in NFL history, his star-making night, helping seal the win for Washington. Another doubleheader. Next Monday, it'll be the Titans and Dolphins on ESPN, and the Seahawks will try to tame the Lions here on ABC. There are so many things I want to get to. George, thank you for wanting me to share my baby.
we respect my kids' privacy, so we don't
Good
share
for
them.
you.
But also, it was a tough night for Cincinnati Bengals fans, but a good day in Cincinnati because Gio was in a medium-sized Cincinnati Bengals jersey.
Right.
You're going to see him coming up.
Well, you heard the woman, Gio in Cincinnati Commanders, played the Bengals last night.
He's in the jersey
Oh,
again.
he got it, he got it.
Medium.
Hey, Gio, you really gave the fans something to cheer about.
Yeah. Well, listen, you know what? Tell Janae over there, it's not my fault I'm built like Joe Burrow, okay? Coming up here, it was a sad night here in Cincinnati, but you know what? We brought the joy here on GMA. We showed people how to find money, unclaimed cash. We're going to show you how to do that, too. That's coming up at our 8 a.m. hour right here on Good Morning America, so do stay with us.
Now with our play of the day and a special surprise for a Deadpool super fan. And I'm a super fan of Lara, who's here with all of that story. What we got?
Back at you, Michael Strahan. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds really does know how to deliver a superhero surprise on the big screen, and well, now he's taking it to the real world. Reynolds made a special visit to Mass General Hospital for Children in Boston. There he is, visiting with 8-year-old Nash. Nash is undergoing treatment for a rare type of cancer. He showed Ryan his radiation mask that he decorated to look like Deadpool. That helps him out. And Ryan must have really liked that because, well, he decided to FaceTime another superhero for Nash. Take a look at this moment.
I'm with a kid named Nash. He's the coolest kid you'll ever meet. And he's going to watch Deadpool and Wolverine soon. He probably doesn't even know who you are. Anyway, I thought do you want to say hi real quick? That's Hugh Jackman.
Isn't that nice? Nash's mom wrote on Twitter that this moment happened because she sent Ryan a photo of Nash and his mask, his Deadpool radiation mask, and Ryan replied to her saying he had to come and meet Nash himself.
Wow.
That is a really nice
Give me
gesture.
chills to see that.
Nash will never forget it.
No, nor will we.
Nope.
Okay, thank you, Lara. Coming up, Kate Winslet is here live in Times Square. Come on.
And I felt useless. I hear you're the one.
Good morning, America. It's 8 a.m. Hurricane Watch. Helene ramping up. The Florida Gulf Coast preparing for possible 115-mile-an-hour winds. Ginger has the track and timing, where and when the storm could make landfall.
Show me the money. Monday Night Football edition. Bengals fans scored their missing money that Ohio is holding. Gio Benitez puts money back in their pocket.
Show me the money!
We're live in Cincinnati.
Look who's flying into Times Square. Kate Winslet joins us live, talking about her new movie that's almost a decade in the making.
Plus, careful who you assemble, because this star-studded new Marvel movie looks action-packed.
Look at you. So adorable.
Don't miss a few of our favorites.
And he's born to run. We're celebrating Bruce Springsteen with a first look at the trailer for his new documentary, as we say Good Morning America.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA.
Good morning, America. Bruce Springsteen helping us race into Tuesday with his 1975 hit, Born to Run. I mean,
It was 50 years ago. Amazing.
That's right. Oh, man. Oh, boy. I didn't realize that, George. And coming up, we have a big announcement from the boss.
We are looking forward to that. And also this morning, Tori Johnson is back. More deals and steals for our September Savings Spectacular, starting at just $5.
First look at the top stories breaking at 8. We start with Florida bracing for what could become a major hurricane. Dozens of counties have already declared a state of emergency. Ginger's tracking the storm. Good morning, Ginger.
Hey, good morning. It's going to cruise fast. So Georgia, Western South Carolina, North Carolina also have to pay attention to this forecast pretty closely. Let's start with where it is, about 150 miles west of the Cayman Islands. And that low pressure system will become Hurricane Helene after it makes its way right through the Yucatan Channel there. But once it strengthens, it could be a Cat 3, which is a major hurricane at landfall close to the Big Bend. It could really, the path could still waver on either side. And remember, the closer you are to that core, the worst of the storm surge you get. But hurricane watches are up from Tallahassee down to Sarasota, Bradenton, Tampa, Cedar Key, Crystal River. And then those tropical storm watches go all the way down to Key West, and it includes Fort Myers. Why? Because you push the water against Southwest Florida and you have trouble. We see it every single storm. Debbie, Idalia, I've been through all of them there. To be able to see 4 to 8 feet can do a lot of damage on those little beaches, especially west of Tampa Bay. 10 to 15 feet, you're talking about a wall of water coming in. So that's by Thursday night. That's when we see the worst of the surge. But Into Friday, we're going to watch significant flash flood threats all the way up into southern Appalachia, and the wind damage will go right through Georgia, too.
Thank you for keeping an eye on it. All right, Ginger, we're going to turn now to the escalation in the Middle East, where the fighting has intensified between Israel and Hezbollah. Let's go back to our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, who was there on the scene in Beirut. Good morning again, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. We've just witnessed, I think, one of the deadliest days in Lebanon in decades. Israel's been relentlessly pounding Lebanon, especially the south, killing over 500 people, including women and children, and wounding more than 1,800 in the last 36 hours. One explosion in southern Lebanon captured on dashcam, and yet more strikes seen this morning. We've just been hearing the sound of explosions here in Beirut. Israel attacking sites across the country, it says, that are being used by Hezbollah, but it's unleashing a mass exodus. We're seeing thousands of people fleeing their homes and villages, creating this massive gridlock in southern Lebanon, a journey that normally takes around 90 minutes, now lasting more than half a day. Schools, churches and mosques are opening their doors to the families who've been forced to flee. Meanwhile, the Iranian-backed Hezbollah responding with rocket fire into northern Israel. America beefing up its presence in the region with fears that if the airports hit here, Americans could have to evacuate the country by sea, and that this could spiral out of control into a wider regional war. And I think for ordinary Lebanese already struggling with a creaking infrastructure, devastated economy, this is truly a calamity with no end in sight. Michael?
All right, Ian, thank you for that. I'm going to turn now to the latest on the deadly mass shooting in Alabama. Officials are on the hunt for multiple shooters and are now offering a reward for information leading to their arrests. Stephanie Ramos is in Birmingham. Good morning, Stephanie.
Michael, good morning. A $100,000 reward is now being offered as police are on the hunt for the gunman who opened fire in this popular nightlife area here in Birmingham, Alabama, killing 4 and wounding 17. The gunfire erupting late Saturday night right outside this hookah lounge just minutes from the University of Alabama at Birmingham. The 4 people killed now identified as Anitra Holloman, Taj Booker, Carlos McCain, and Roderick Patterson Jr. Police say at least one of those victims was the intended target and that the suspects possibly may have been paid to kill them. Around 100 shell casings were collected here at the scene, and now the FBI and ATF are assisting in this investigation. Authorities say they are looking into whether the firearms involved in the shooting were converted to fully automatic weapons using a so-called gun switch, which are illegal, guys.
Okay, Stephanie, thanks very much. Coming up on our GMA Morning Menu, Show Me the Money kicks off in Cincinnati, home of the Bengals. Gio Benitez there to help fans score some lost funds. Tell us how you can as well.
Also ahead is Lady Gaga working on a secret album. Blair is on the case. That's coming up in Pop News.
Plus, GMA's first look at the trailer for the upcoming Bruce Springsteen documentary, taking fans on tour with the boss. And Lara, you're with the boss right now.
I am with the boss, Robin. Well said. Oscar winner, Emmy winner, Kate Winslet is in the house. I'm so happy to have her here. And she's talking about a passion project she's been working on, trying to bring this to the big screen for years. It is finally here and very much worth the wait. We're going to talk all about Lee, the movie, and what else is going on in this gorgeous woman's life coming up on Good Morning America.
We are back with our GMA cover story, Show Me the Money. Gio Benitez is in Cincinnati, where we help fans at the Monday Night Football game recover some unclaimed funds. Good morning, Gio.
Hey, George, good morning. Yeah, listen, Bengals fans were so disappointed last night after that loss. But you know what? We got to meet them before the game when their spirits were still high and the money, oh, it was rushing in.
Monday Night Football bringing the energy last night.
He's got it! Touchdown!
The Washington Commanders defeating the Cincinnati Bengals, a sobering loss for the home team, but outside the stadium, these Bengals fans finding something to cheer about.
Show me the money!
The team at the Ohio Department of Commerce huddled around the computers looking up names to see if anyone has any unclaimed money, which is cash that got fumbled at some point before getting turned over to the state for safekeeping. From things like left-behind security deposits, accidental overpayments, or paychecks that simply got lost in the mail. Across the U.S., about 1 in 7 people have unclaimed money. In Ohio last year, those who found money took home an average of more than $4,200.
Hey, you know folks here in Cincinnati love their quarterback, Joe Burrow, but we're hoping we can get them a little more than a quarter back. We're hoping for some big bucks.
Show me the money!
It was first down for this man who found $27 from an old college fund.
Okay.
Not bad.
Hey, that's half a tank. It'll get me somewhere.
This woman coming up with a big play from an old payroll check.
So we have $45.43.
Gas money.
I mean, listen, you weren't coming here expecting anything, right? How much money is still unclaimed in the state of Ohio?
In the state of Ohio, we have $4.3 billion. We paid out $149 million last year.
This woman rushing for the end zone, breaking 3 figures from an old escrow account.
You're going home with $135.33. Look at that.
What do I say? Show me the money. More football tickets.
Show me the money.
But this one makes the highlight reel.
You found $1,147.29. You didn't know this money was just sitting there.
I did not.
It belongs to his family's small business. Yeah, they can have unclaimed money too. And with that, there's only one thing left to say.
And to see if you have any unclaimed money, no matter where you live, go to missingmoney.com. Put all your information in right there. But you know, one of the things that we're seeing is that people are starting that process, but they're not finishing it off. They're not proving that they are who they say they are, and they need that ID. It doesn't take too long, so go ahead and follow through. Get that cash because it's just sitting there. And by the way, if there's another website that's asking you to pay for this stuff, no, it is clearly a scam. That is not good. So make sure that you're going to this free website, missingmoney.com. Guys,
Gio gets so energized by getting people money.
You know, all I can think, as a former football player, Gio, I'm thinking there's no way you can get shoulder pads under that tight jersey.
But I can try.
I'm just saying I can't get it out.
He wasn't going for that look.
Looking good, man. You're looking good.
And Gio, thank you, because I did it. He's so passionate. I did everything, every step. It works. I got $64.
All right.
There's money out there. So thanks, Gio. Appreciate that. And you're looking good, pal.
You're welcome.
You guys want to hear some pop news?
Let's do it. Yes.
All right, good. Let's do it. Good morning, everybody. We're going to begin with a thunderbolt, if you will. That's the name of the new anti-hero film from Marvel starring Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, David Harbour, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and more. And they've released this first look trailer. Here it is for you.
We're brought up with this belief that there are good guys and there are bad guys. But eventually, you come to realize that there are bad guys and there are worse guys and nothing else. Look at you. So adorable.
I love her. She's Dreyfus.
Can't
She's
wait
going
to
to be
see
great.
this.
Yeah. So good.
Yes.
So, guys, the log line for this movie reads, a world without Avengers doesn't mean there's not a group of superheroes. There is a group, and they're called the Thunderbolts. And the trailer gives a warning. Careful who you assemble. I think it sounds fantastic. Check out that trailer. It's already racked 10 million views on YouTube just overnight. Thunderbolts hits theaters everywhere on May 2nd, 2025. Really clever premise and an amazing cast.
Yeah.
Also in the news, guys, Bruce Springsteen turned 75, you may have heard yesterday. Hard to believe. And we will all get a big present from the boss in the way of a new documentary. It's called Road Diary, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. And it gives fans an in-depth look at the creation of the band's legendary performances. Here's a look at the trailer.
Since I was 16, playing live has been a deep and lasting part of who I am and how I justify my existence here on Earth. 50 years and the mighty E Street Band, baby. But when the world shut down, I made a promise that if we got through this, I'd throw the biggest party I could. Can't disappoint the fans. Can't do that. There are two things I try to accomplish in rehearsal. One, you've got to shake the cobwebs off the band. And two, what will the rhythm of the show be?
We wanted this show to be a real rock show. It's all connected.
I grew up with. Bruce, and he was the most introverted guy you'd ever met in your life. To go from that to like the world's greatest entertainer, it blows my mind.
He's the maestro. People are just so grateful for having this music again.
Time moves quickly when you are on the road. There's no getting over the losses to the band. Same lineup for 40 years. You never get over the guys you played with for that long. But it's too late to stop now. I plan on continuing until the wheels come off, and for as long as the audience will follow me. It's my job.
Amen. Baby, we were born to
We are all speechless. That looks incredible. What access we were given. That's called Road Diary, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. It begins streaming October 25th on Hulu and Disney+. And George has a new primetime special about Bruce. It's called Bruce Springsteen Backstage and Backstreets, in which he sits down with Bruce to talk about his life and his music. That airs Sunday, October 20th, 10 p.m. Eastern, here on ABC. I know you've been in the midst of doing that lately.
We have great jobs. We sure do. Bruce was so generous with his time. Went to a concert in Washington, D.C. Backstage the whole concert, talking to the whole band, getting ready. Also went to the Stone Pony with him, where he got started more than 50 years ago. And such a peak experience. And he reveals so much, both in the documentary and in the special. Real privilege to do.
Oh, it's so exciting.
Look at that.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah,
you know, with the boss.
That's
backstage access.
Very cool. Very cool.
I can't wait to see it.
Very excited about that. And then we do have one, not that we can, I mean, I don't know how to follow that, but I'm going to try. We've got Gaga news. A little more music news for you. Gaga's sending fans into a frenzy with these cryptic new posts. Have you seen them? Last night, the Grammy-winning superstar put up billboards in Times Square. How do they do that? Like in the middle of the night, suddenly these appear. It says LG 6.5 written all over them. Fans, of course, think this means a new album, LG 6.5. They think it will drop before Gaga's upcoming LG 7 album that she's already announced. Over the last 24 hours, she's also been dropping snippets of new song instrumentals. I mean, this has got to be, right? Including one where the photo just says, "Still Not October." Listen up. Yeah, she's rocking. That's a new sound. I love that. Fans are just going wild, you guys, with their theories online. Bring them. We want to hear it. Many think that LG 6.5 is all about the secret album called Harlequin, in reference to her character in Joker, Folie à Deux. That comes out next weekend. Fans think that something will happen this week. We are all over it. We know that her scheduled album, LG 7, comes out in February. I don't know.
We need the Pop News investigation. We need to get down to the bottom of this.
The team is on it. The team is on it. That's Pop News, guys.
What was that?
Pop News Avengers Assemble.
Assemble.
We are excited to be here now with Academy Award winner Kate Winslet. She's now starring as war photojournalist Lee Miller in Lee. Kate, good morning to you. Welcome to GMA.
I was just saying before the cameras came to us, I was like, I've got everybody today.
Get everybody.
I feel so special.
You are.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you show up. We all got to come out of the dressing rooms and be here on set with you. And, let's talk about Lee. Let's get right into it. This was inspired in part, you were inspired to make this movie in part by something that was a little bit unusual. A table?
Yeah, so in 2015, I have some friends who work for an auction house, and they'd researched a very interesting table that had come in. And my friend knows how much I appreciate cooking and feasting with family. And she called me and she said, "Kate, this extraordinary table, you've got to bid on it." And I said, "Well, tell me." And it was in the holiday home of the Penrose family, and Roland Penrose was Lee Miller's lover during the time that our film is set, played by Alex Skarsgård in our film. And they then married and had a whole life together. But Lee and Roland would spend summers, and this would be the table with all of their surrealist friends and artists. And this was the table Lee would prepare the food at, and they would eat at this table.
Did you get the table?
I got the table. I got the table. The table is not in the film. But I got the table, and I sat at it, and I thought to myself, wow, Lee Miller. I wonder why no one's made a film about her. And that was how it began.
wow.
And then I went and met her son, Anthony Penrose, who's in his 70s now, who has devoted his life since her death to upholding her memory and kind of coming to understand her, actually, after she passed away, because she hid all of her negatives and photographs boxed up in the attic and never talked of it, because so many people who witnessed World War II and were part of that conflict had terrible PTSD, which Lee absolutely did. But she was a phenomenal character, phenomenal woman.
Let's take a look at a clip.
Oh, goodness. Stop, please. You mustn't. These are mine. I took them. I decide what happens to them. Please. Stop. They're an historical record. Well, who cares? Nobody saw them. You didn't print them.
She was such a legend. And you not only star in this film, you also produced it. And quite an odyssey to get it to the screen. What, 9 years?
Yes, it was 9 years, but happily so. You know, I must say the sort of first 4 to 5 years was really spent with our two female writers, creating the story and the narrative around this decade that we cover in the film, which I feel was her most defining time and how she would have most wanted to be remembered. Because if you were to Google Lee Miller, certainly when I did this in 2015, former muse and lover of Man Ray, ex-cover girl, Vogue model. So I wanted to lift her out of that male gaze. She was a model for a snippet of her life and she didn't like being a model. And she famously said, "I'd rather take a picture than be one." And so that was the beginning of her journey in becoming a photographer and stepping behind the lens and creating a job for herself as war correspondent for British Vogue, when women were not allowed into the conflict zones and were not allowed in any areas of danger. And Lee was determined to go and bear witness and to be that visual voice for the victims of conflict with a female eye. And that's what really sets her work apart. And I do think, you know, without people like Lee Miller, how would we know now, really, what happens to those victims? She wasn't photographing the soldiers and the bloodshed. She was photographing into those dark corners what happens to the women and the children and the innocent people, and as we sadly know, the millions and millions of missing. She was there to document that too.
Your passion is evident.
Yeah.
It's so, and thank you for this. And it took almost a decade, as George said. What did you learn from, what did you personally learn from her?
What I learned from Lee, quite honestly, was that as women, we have to keep going. You have to keep going because you can and you must. And just never take no for an answer. Honestly, I really learned that as well. She was already redefining femininity 80 years ago to mean resilience and power and togetherness and compassion and things that, I mean, we live our lives like that now, and it's how we're raising our daughters and how we are in our friendships. And that was who Lee Miller was, and just that belief that it was important to reveal the hidden truth, that powerful streak of injustice that she carried. It made her formidable, and I was absolutely inspired by her, more than any character I've ever played.
You can hear it.
Yeah.
Your passion is there. We are so excited. Also, just want to say quickly, happy birthday. I know it's coming up.
Oh yes, next week. Yeah.
And everybody else, do something great. Lee at the theaters this Friday. Check it out.
Thank you,
we'll be right
Kate.
back.
Love you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome back to GMA, live from Times Square.
We're back now with Tori Johnson in Deals and Steals. It is the final day of our September Savings Spectacular, and all the products are from small businesses. Welcome, Tori. Good morning.
Thank you. We're starting with Mighty Bright. These are the most awesome book lights, but honestly, they bring you light wherever some is needed on your detailed projects. So think about reading, crafts, music stand, fine detailed projects.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, there we go. Dim the lights.
There you go.
Can see the
there you
light.
go. Look, and we also have that really big one, the floor standing craft one right there. Oh yeah, we got to get that. This is where I'm supposed to say, "Get it, Grandpa." Get it, Grandpa. Everything slashed in half. Starts at $7.50. By the way, I took that line from Isabella, who I saw online last night.
Yeah.
Your own Isabella.
My own daughter got me.
Friendship right here. Okay, so we've got some eco-friendly dryer balls. These are the eco-friendly, chemical-free alternative to traditional fabric sheets. You pop those in the load. 100% premium wool from New Zealand, reusable over 1,000 times. while you're juggling, I'm selling this product because you guys should have it because it makes drying go faster, less wrinkles, super smart.
Really?
You get a trio of them for $9.
$9.
Yep.
There you go,
So,
Dwayne. Take that home. Your shirt's wrinkled.
If you want to do laundry less and you like to keep your towels and bedding fresher longer, Miracle Brand is for you. So it's this fabric that is temperature regulating and infused with silver that is going to help make it more antimicrobial.
Really?
So it's going to eliminate 99.7% of bacteria. So that results in cleaner, cooler, more hygienic sleep night after night. Same with the towels too. So you can wash them less frequently with the same results than more traditional options. We also have their shower steamer. Smell the citrus one. I think it smells really good in the shower.
That smells great.
Everything from Miracle Brand slashed in half. These are good ones.
I'm all over that Miracle Brand.
You
Let's
are?
go.
Okay. How about Super Smile? So look at that. That's their dentist level clean with that sonic toothbrush. It's got a unique polishing head, and the angles of it are designed to get you where typical toothbrushes can't go. You can cycle through
Of all people, you bring that talk about where typical toothbrushes can't go.
There you go. We also can give you whiter teeth, 2 drops, 2 minutes, twice a day when you use both their toothpaste and their whitening accelerator. Even with the gap, you like white teeth.
Yes.
This helps make them even whiter. Everything from Super Smile, Slash in Half. These products are phenomenal. I like to think of them as the Rolls-Royce of oral health care, starting at $24.
You know what I say? My teeth may not be together, but they're clean.
They're clean. There you go.
Yeah.
A-Trax. This is footwear designed by more than millions of data points. So they use those to develop shoes that are more comfortable, anatomically correct, help you feel better with every single step, more supportive. So we've got the ballet flats there. We also have arch support loafers and sneakers, 6 different styles, all slash in half, and free shipping from A-Trax. And then we're ending on a little sweet treat from Farm Steady.
Ooh.
They make these kits for at home that enable you to bake something that tastes better than what you can buy in a store or order in a restaurant. So everything from focaccia to ravioli to cinnamon buns. These are this is like a fun project. It also makes the house smell really good. They're all slashed in half, starts at $12.50.
All right, I'm taking the cinnamon buns home. I have a weakness for cinnamon buns. Tori, thank you.
Anything for you.
And thank you, Tori. We partner with these companies on these great deals. Get them on our website, goodmorningamerica.com.
A first look at the new book, Interference, the inside story of Trump, Russia, and the Mueller investigation. 2 of the co-authors, Aaron Zebley, who is Mueller's top deputy, and Andrew Goldstein, a lead prosecutor, are here talking for the first time about how they investigated President Trump and the dangers of election interference right now. Thank you guys both for coming in. And Aaron, why don't you start and talk about why it was so important for you to write this book, because we all saw the report several years ago.
We thought it was important right now because there are 2 key messages in the book. One is that Russia interfered in the 2016 election, and with recent public reports, we think they're continuing to do that now. And then it's also very important that there be a mechanism to investigate presidents, and the book describes how we did that. That's the story you want to tell. One of the things we've heard from former President Trump and his allies for the last several years, and it's become almost a cliche, they call this the Russia hoax.
And it wasn't a hoax. Russia interfered in the election in 2016 in sweeping fashion. We document that both in the report and in the book. And we know that it is happening now. And it's important for American elections to be decided by Americans and not by foreign adversaries.
Part of the reason this ended up the way it did is what happened is immediately after you all released your report, and the Attorney General basically came close. He didn't use the word exoneration, but he said he wasn't going to continue to prosecute former President Trump at the time. And you take aim at William Barr, the Attorney General, in this book.
We do. What happened when we delivered the report is the Attorney General did not release our report immediately, and instead released his own summary, which we think mischaracterized the full extent of our work. And we think that led to some confusion about what we'd actually done and what we'd actually found.
We keep hearing this word. The president uses the word no collusion. He calls this a hoax. What exactly did you document about the ties between Donald Trump and Russia?
We were looking to see whether there was a criminal conspiracy between the president or his campaign and Russia. We did not establish that there was a conspiracy, but the report And in our book, we document the many links and the outreach that the Russian government made while they were conducting their interference campaign. They were reaching out to the Trump campaign to let them know that they were helping.
Is there anything you believe you could have done differently in order to prevent the mischaracterization of what has happened with the report?
If we had to do it over again, I might think through how we delivered the report and do that in a different manner, maybe deliver it ready for release immediately. It's contrary to how prosecutors typically document results of an investigation, but I might do that differently.
Since the report came out, and in this election cycle, we saw this Supreme Court decision on presidential immunity. Given the findings of the Supreme Court, the conclusions of the Supreme Court, could an investigation like the one you conducted even happen today?
It may not be. And one of the reasons why we think the book has special relevance now is we document how we conducted what we think was a fair, fast, principled investigation. And that kind of investigation into potential misconduct by a president might not be able to be done again.
And what's the most important thing for Americans to know right now about what kind of foreign interference is taking place and what we can do about it?
To be aware of it. It is happening. Andrew just said that the Russia election interference scheme was not a hoax. It really happened. It's happening now. There are other adversaries who appear to be interfering as well, the Iranians. There's reports as recently as today that people just need to be aware that it's happening.
Thank you both for coming in. It's an important book. It's called Interference, the Inside Story of Trump, Russia, and the Mueller Investigation. It's out now.
We are joined now by three-time Emmy Award-winning actress Uzo Aduba. She has a new memoir. It is beautiful. It's about her journey and her family's history. The Road is Good, how a mother's strength became a daughter's purpose. Uzo, it is wonderful to see you.
Oh my gosh, it's so wonderful to see you.
I read it every single page and just devoured it. And I knew it was going to be your story, but it's your mom's story as well.
Yeah.
You know, so tell us the reason behind that.
You know, so much of my story is built on my mother's story. She poured so much of herself into me, from her lessons, from coming to the United States, from Nigeria. My first gen story is built out of that, and all of the support she was giving to myself and my siblings every day of our lives to ensure that we were the fullness of her American dream.
And she's no longer here physically. She's here with us spiritually.
Yes.
And you have her diaries.
Yeah.
20 years.
Yes.
20 years of diaries. And you do something that I do with my mom's diaries, because she wrote a year of Dear God letters for a whole year. I don't read them fast, because it's like having a conversation with them, right?
That's exactly right. You can't, you know. There's a realization you come to at some point that the pictures are eventually going to come to an end, you know, that you're going to maybe not get any more pictures and maybe not have any more conversations. And the beautiful thing about having these journals is I feel like I'm still in conversation with her, so I savor it. You know, it's like she's talking to me again. You know, I talk to my mom every single day, and so I get to have those conversations with her.
And it comes through in the book. It really does come through in the book. And how proud you are of your heritage. Yeah. You are. So talk to the importance of that and how you talk about your mom's side of the family and your father's side of the family from Nigeria.
Yeah, you know, my heritage was really important to me, and it was important to my mom. And I think it really was because, you know, if we didn't hold on to it, I think she saw a part of herself being erased, you know, and she really wanted to keep us proud of who we are, whether that's with my gap that I've held on to. You know, she called it the Anyoku Gap, her maiden name, because her whole family had one, and I wanted to close my teeth. And she said, don't you know that in Nigeria, a gap is a sign of beauty? And I would say, well, we don't live in Nigeria. We live in Boston, Massachusetts. But I'm glad she told me to keep it, you know?
And I'm glad you smiled, because there was a time that you wouldn't smile.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. I wouldn't smile. I smile all the time now.
I know.
I feel like I'm making up for lost smiles.
Yeah, well, you have reason to smile. You got a baby girl.
That's right.
Oh, and you just were talking to me about how she is an extension of your mother in some ways.
Oh, my gosh. In so many ways, you know, she is the joy restored in my life. I say it all the time, you know, when my mom flew up to heaven, I felt like my joy went there. And then my daughter was coming down, I feel like she snatched it and brought it back.
So what do you want people picking up this book? What do you want them to come away feeling?
I want people to come away feeling that the story is ever growing, that we're always writing chapters in our life, that where we are today is not where we'll be tomorrow, and that there are so many people, to look for the people who pour into our story and share our story, share in making and creating our story. And I want people to know that the journey, the road, is good and it's worth it.
And that is what your name means, doesn't it?
Yes. That's exactly it. My name in English, my full name is Ozempic, which means the road is good. And it's great.
It is a great road. I want people to read it. I want them to read because I know you from the Orange is New Black. New Black.
Yeah.
And the story you tell, because you thought that day you were going to leave the business, and then you got that role.
That's exactly right. That's one of those moments in the road, you know. I couldn't see a way forward, Robin, for myself in this business. I thought I had reached the point, the end, that this wasn't for me, and I went home ready to become a lawyer.
Right.
I was going to become a lawyer that Monday.
That's what your family wanted.
That's what my family wanted, and I got home that night, 5:43 p.m. I will never forget it. September, it was a Friday. 5:43 p.m. My phone rang, and my life changed, and my agent at the time called and said that I had booked a show called Orange is the New Black on a little unknown streamer at the time called Netflix.
And 2 Emmys later from that. You have 3 Emmys overall, but 2, one for comedic and one for drama. That's never happened before.
Yeah.
In the same series.
Yes. Unbelievable, and not something that I ever couldn't have been further from my thinking, my imagination, the realm of possibility at the time. And I am so glad that I stuck with it, and I couldn't be happier.
And I'm so glad that you wrote this book.
Thank you.
And that's all the time we have now, but we're going to hook up a little bit later here in New York City. We got a book signing, and we're going to have a nice conversation.
Yes.
What is that, West 95th? I think
that's right.
Okay.
Symphony Space.
Okay, if you're in the city, come on.
That's right, come on down.
We'll be
Join
there.
us.
All right, please, I'll see you later tonight.
Thank
But
you.
I want people to know the road is good, and the road is good. It's available wherever books are sold, even where we're going to be tonight.
That's
coming up. Oh, Shailene Woodley. She is here. She's going to tell us about her new series, 3 Women. Come on back.
These 3 were unheard in all the lonely ways. And more than I wanted to tell their stories, I wanted to hear them myself. Because unlike so many others I spoke to over the course of 8 years, Lena, Sloan, and Maggie were not people who wanted to be watched. They were women who needed to be seen.
Oh, yeah, they did. That's a look at the new Starz show, 3 Women, and the owner of that familiar voice is none other than Shailene Woodley.
Hello.
Hi. It's so nice to see you again.
You too.
This is based on a best-selling nonfiction book. Your character, Gia, is based on the author.
Yeah, Lisa Taddeo.
Lisa Taddeo. This book was wildly popular. Is that what drew you to the project?
Yeah, I was a fan of the book. I was a fan of Lisa's. I think Lisa has this ability as an author to write what I have always felt, but have never been able to articulate myself about myself and my experiences in life, or about my girlfriends and things that I've spoken with them about. And so that was the initial draw for me.
And there was so much love for this book and the adaptation, and then it went away.
Yeah.
And then it came back. Yeah. And now it's here.
It's finally here.
Can you tell everybody a little bit about you play sort of this journalist?
Yeah.
And then you come across you tell us.
Okay. So it's based on Lisa's life historically, and the character is sort of an amalgamation of her and myself and a different person. So it's not a direct translation of who Lisa is. But it's a journalist who travels the country for 7 years, which is what Lisa actually did, and getting to know women around the country and understanding their relationships to sex, desire, pleasure, their bodies, the things that scare them, the things that make them feel comfortable, in the pursuit of making and helping people feel less alone.
Yeah, it's really brought a lot of women together, and you've said it's changed the way you look at your circle of friends.
In a way, I mean, I'm very lucky to have a tight circle of women who are very open with one another, but it has opened up conversations, I would say, between friends that I haven't really ever had deep or sensitive or delicate conversations with. And I think that is the beauty of the show and the book, is normalizing things that for some reason in our Western culture we've made taboo about women's bodies or our experiences of the world.
that are actually just very normal, human, everyday experiences.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another project that you have been a part of that involves strong women, Big Little Lies, season 3. It can be said right here, right now. It is happening.
I mean, I wish I could absolutely say that with authority. I hope so. I've been told it is. I think we're all very hopeful, and it's just the waiting game that sometimes happens in Hollywood.
In my little deep dive research, Nicole Kidman seems like she's a big producer on it. It seems like it's on board. You guys, I know, still have your group text intact, which gives us hope. I just feel like that's
Nicole
a clue.
and Reese are on it. They're definitely on it.
That's good. I can't believe it's been 5 years since we said goodbye to you guys.
All the kids
we
are
want you back.
They're so grown. I saw them maybe a year ago, and all the boys, their voices have dropped, and the girls,
my gosh,
I'm like, what happened?
and just can't let you go because now you're a neighbor for at least a little bit. Congratulations, you're making your foray into Broadway in just a couple of months. In Cult of Love.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you. Thank you. I've never done a play before, so it feels. It's a brand new muscle and a whole new craft, and I'm just excited to learn.
Yeah.
I'm already learning so much from the other actors and creatives involved, and it feels so good.
Well, you're a busy girl, and we're happy to have you in New York and cannot wait to see this. I've heard just nothing but great things. And everybody, you can see it as well. It's called 3 Women. It's streaming right now on Stars. It's good.
We're just talking about babies. Yeah. Have a great